Hey guys, so I want to talk to you a little bit about my fitness journey, kind of over my lifetime, because I feel like it has been a life journey for me, I guess. Um, just kind of a little bit about me. I grew up in East Las Vegas, right on the border of North Las Vegas, so I guess Northeast Las Vegas. And I grew up in a fairly kind of low income area, so um, we didn't have fancy toys or anything like that, which ended up being a good thing because if you don't have video games or cable TV to keep you inside on the couch, your only option is to go outside and actually play with your friends. And so we did a lot of that. I had a favorite pair of rollerblades and I wore those things out to no end. And so I've always been active. I played softball from about 7th grade up through high school. Um, Pretty much year round. Once I got into high school, I played tennis in high school. Just always been really active, but as I've gotten older, at this point now, I realize that my big problem has always been nutrition. And growing up, we didn't really have a lot of money. We couldn't afford, to buy fresh fruits and vegetables or even frozen. Like, from what I can remember, a lot of our vegetables came from cans, and my mom was a very, very plain eater. She had a very plain palate, and so if she didn't like it, she didn't make it because she couldn't stand the smell of it. So we, didn't try a lot of different foods, and because we couldn't afford a lot, we ate a lot of boxed dinners, a lot of ramen. Macaroni and cheese was a big one, and we spiced things up by putting hot dogs in it. Pork and beans was another big one, but that's just kind of how I've always grown up, and that's all I've really known. And so if you don't know how to eat healthy, you don't when you finally get out on your own. So when and during all this time, I was the chunky one of the neighborhood. My brothers were little bean poles, and my parents were fairly, average size, fairly skinny, and all my friends were skinny, and it's like everyone had a tapeworm or something, I don't know. But I was always the chunky one, and, when I was younger, it used to bug me because there'd be fat jokes, and my mom would always say, "Oh, you're just big bone. Don't worry about it. You're just built differently. You're built bigger." And so, I got over it, and that stuff bugged me, but it really didn't affect my day-to-day life. It was kind of something always like in the back of my head. And so after I graduated high school, I moved to southern Utah to start school, and I don't know if it was all the people that I happened to be around or if I was extra self-conscious, but everybody was skinny. Like, all of my roommates were skinny. Everybody I went to church with was like super slim and wore cute clothes and blah blah blah. And I felt so out of place. I remember girls like sharing clothes, and I distinctly remember there was a dance that we were all getting ready for, and I didn't have like any like fancy nice clothes because I was a tomboy. I didn't need that stuff, and so they're like, "Jessica, we're gonna get you all dolled up," and there were very few options for me to wear because I was the bigger girl and they were not bigger girls. So it kind of put me in a depressed mode, and so kind of was working my way through that. They were very encouraging, very sweet, and just encouraged me to go out with them and have fun still. And after that year, I ended up moving back to Vegas for school because I couldn't afford out-of-state tuition on my own again. And so went to school in Vegas for a year, started hitting up, I started with the LA weight loss program, which is a joke, and a few years later went bankrupt because of a whole bunch of lawsuits. And I started dating a guy who was big into like 3-day cleanses and stuff like that, so I started those, and finally got smart and joined a gym and was doing really good with that, getting into the groove. At that point, I had started coaching softball at my old high school, and so I was really active with that, coaching the girls. I was down and dirty and doing everything with them, The best teacher is the teacher who will do, I guess. And so, just really starting to get in the groove. I wasn't really losing weight because my nutrition was still an issue. But I was happy with myself because I could run and not feel like I was going to pass out. I could walk upstairs. Like, I can do general day-to-day stuff and be okay. I moved up to Reno to go to school and ended up going, hitting up the gym there and was doing really well. And then I met my husband, my now husband. From about the day I met him to the day I married him was about 6 months. So we had dated for 3 months and were engaged for 3 months. Very, very quick. So it was kind of a whirlwind while I was living up there in Reno. I was working in an after-school program, so I was constantly on my feet. I worked in the gym for the first little while I was there, and so running all kinds of athletic, refereeing soccer games to refereeing basketball to running dodgeball games, you name it. I was right there in the middle of it. So at that point, we had about 6 months after we had gotten married, we moved up to Logan, where we are now. And again, that anxiety with everyone being skinny kind of came back to me. I think I have like anxiety against Utah or something. I don't know. But came up here, started going to the gym at the university up here and really started to focus on me and focus on getting healthy. And about 2 months into that routine, I found out I was pregnant, which was kind of like nerve-wracking because we were both in school full-time, working part-time, had no room or money for a child, but alas, he was coming. So about 2 months, I was about 2 to 3 months pregnant when the energy was just taken away from me, even after my workouts. Usually after your workouts, you feel energized. After my workouts, I took a nap. So I, cut back on the gym and actually started to eat healthy. I was kind of researching and, like all first-time mothers do, what to eat and what not to eat. And so I was being really conscious and was actually at the point where I was only craving healthy food. I ate a lot of Subway, a lot of like cold cut sandwiches and stuff like that. And so I actually only gained about 35 pounds with my pregnancy, which I thought was really good because I ended up giving birth to our little guy who was about 10.5 pounds. So pretty much a third of the weight I had gained was like all out in a matter of seconds when I gave birth. I was actually back to my pre-pregnancy weight within 2 weeks of having him. It was after that point where a lot of the complications from delivery started to catch up with me. There was, I bled out, there was, some hemorrhaging, a lot of issues with the uterus. I was looking, I was like on the doorstep of a blood transfusion, just a lot of scary stuff, and my body was not happy, and so I didn't do anything for about 1.5 years after I had my little guy, and I did and I didn't. I actually bought Insanity at that point and tried to do it a couple times. The first time I got through, I think the first 20 days, 25 days, and ended up rolling my ankle. And then about a month later I started it again and only got through the first week and just was way too uncomfortable to do it. And so it was really hard. And the little guy's first Christmas, we went to see my parents to introduce him to them. So December of 2012, we went down to Vegas and, was visiting with family and taking pictures and doing all this stuff. And we come back home and we're looking at pictures, and I look at myself and I just start crying. I'm like, is that really what I look like? It really broke my heart because I saw, this perfect little boy, and then I saw this woman holding him that was not healthy. she did not look happy. She looked miserable. And she was going down the path that the rest of her family was on. My mom's side of the family, a lot of them are clinically obese, and a lot of overweight issues with them, a lot of health issues because of it. And so I saw that and I was like, that's where I'm going. I'm so close to being there already. I can't handle it anymore. You know, I was considered overweight, and I was like 10, maybe 15 pounds away from being categorized as obese. And so that really, really freaked me out because I was only, 23 at the time, and I can't be obese at 23. I can't, be creating a death sentence for myself, being so young, having a newborn baby. My husband didn't deserve that. And so that's when I did my New Year's resolution. For the first time, I decided to set a goal, and I was like, I'm probably not even going to be attempting this by the end of the year, but I need to at least try. And I need to try because my family deserves better than this. They deserve, a happier wife and a happier mom. And so I hooked up with a personal trainer out of Reno. A friend of mine had trained with her, and she suggested that I contact her because she recently decided to do a long distance training, so online training. And so hooked up with her. We got meal plan set up, workout set up, and I was just chugging away for about 6 months. I was hitting the gym about 5-6 times a week, hour and a half, 2 hours a day, and on a really, really strict diet, like super strict. And I was eating foods I didn't even know existed. Greek yogurt, when I first started eating it, was the nastiest thing I'd ever eaten. And plain Greek yogurt I still think is nasty, but I can eat it now without wanting to literally puke. So my palate has come a long way since then. But I was killing myself, and after 6 months I had only lost 15 pounds. And, some say, most people are like, yeah, that's not a lot of weight. And if I had seen it on the outside, it would have been a little bit better, but I really hadn't lost any inches either. And so I needed something different. And so I remembered that I had a Beachbody coach. When I had bought Insanity previously, I'd signed up for a free membership, and this new coach I had was actually my third Beachbody coach, because I think the other ones just kind of like fell off the face of the earth. And so this coach was messaging me periodically once every couple months and letting me know that he was thinking of me, if there's anything he could do to help. And I was like, hey, he put it out there, he offered it, so I'm going to message him. And so I hooked up with him, ended up getting connected with his wife, and she's like, hey, I think you should try Chalene Extreme. Obviously, Insanity, your body's not ready for it right now, because Insanity, there's a lot of jumping and hopping, and I have dainty ankles as it is, and all that weight and dainty ankles really don't mix. So she's like, weightlifting. I was like, well, won't I get buff and like get heavier? She's like, no. And so she had to educate me about, what weights do to your body, especially a woman's body. Weights do amazing things. And so she educated me about that, and then she introduced Shakeology to me, and she's like, and she shared with me, what it was doing for her, as she was, she had been drinking it after having a couple babies, and the energy that it gave her, and just the different things that it helped her with. And I was like, hey, I'll give it a try. It's cheaper than what I've been spending money on, and it was still scary because I had set aside a budget, and we had completely zeroed that budget out with our previous girl. And so this one, I was like, we don't have any money. And my husband's like, if you've got someone who's going to be by your side, and that they're going to help you and message you and call you and text you and actually respond to you, then we'll make this initial investment and, see where it goes. You deserve to be happier. And so we put my challenge pack on the credit card and slowly paid it off. And within a month, I had already seen results. By the time the 90-day program was up, I had lost 15 pounds, but on top of that, I had lost about 31 inches all over my body, and there was a huge difference between pre-Chalene and post-Chalene, and I felt awesome about it. I had a lot more energy. I wasn't craving junk food anymore. Previous to starting, I needed about 8, 9, some nights even 10 hours of sleep to function the next day. I was only working on about 6, maybe 7 hours of sleep and felt amazing. At that point, I was in school full-time, working part-time. Jared was also in school full-time and working part-time. We had a newborn baby, and on top of it all, I was doing my practicum down in Brigham, which is about a 30 to 45 minute drive from Logan. And so I was going down to Brigham City 2 to 3 times a week, working all day down there to get my hours in, and then driving another, 30, 45 minutes home. And so I didn't have time to do 2-hour, gym sessions, and I didn't have time to eat food that wasn't going to give me energy. I needed all the energy I can get, and so it really, really did change my life, and I knew my coach was in it for the long haul, and she was there by my side and answered all the questions that I had and encouraged me, and actually encouraged me to be a coach. And because she saw something in me that at the time I didn't see in myself, and kind of just encouraged me to keep working on me, because taking care of me is important. I'm a much better wife now that I'm healthier and happier in my own skin. I'm a lot more interactive with my son. I'm a lot happier. I'm a better friend. I'm a more focused worker. Just all of these amazing things have happened just from sending that one message, because I happened to remember that I had a Beachbody coach. Since completing Chalene Extreme, I've completed P90X. I've completed Les Mills Combat, which is my soulmate workout, by the way. Let me tell you, I can punch and kick like no one's business. I'm currently doing Ultimate Reset, which is pretty much it's a cleanse for your body. It's 21 days, and it's a beast. It is super strict, and it is testing my limits as far as snacks, stress. I'm learning a lot about my stress eating habits, because I am a major stress eater. And my husband is actually gone for training this month while I'm doing Ultimate Reset, so being a single parent for the first time is a major stress, but we're getting through it. I'm about halfway done, and a couple days after I finish my cleanse, my husband will be home, so it'll be a nice surprise for him to see, hopefully, what all my hard work is showing. So, that's kind of where my journey's been up to this point. Right now, I work full-time. My husband doesn't work. He is in school full-time. Well, he is in the National Guard, so he is gone 1 weekend a month, and like I said, he's at training right now for the ROTC, because he's working on becoming an officer, and so that means lots of empty nights, lonely nights, I guess, in my future. But it's been a good road so far, and I know that if I hadn't been introduced to Beachbody programs, I wouldn't be as healthy and happy with myself as I am today. And I can only imagine what the next few years will look like. I was looking at high school pictures and looking at myself when I was 18, where that was supposed to be my prime, and to see myself at age 26 being 10 times healthier, 10 times stronger, 10 times faster than I was when I was 18 just blows my mind. I can't even imagine how awesome of a softball player I would have been if I would have been in the shape that I'm in now, or how fantastic of a tennis player, or what other things I could have done with my life had I been healthier sooner. So it looks like I have some things to try out as a middle-aged adult, as a 20-something-year-old adult. So it's fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of trouble I can get myself in by the time December hits. I kind of have some plans up my sleeve as far as testing the limits of my body and seeing what my body can actually do and what it should actually look like. It's been fun to see my body change into what Heavenly Father wanted it to actually look like, so it's been good. So as always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Nothing is taboo. I come from Las Vegas. Folks over there talk about anything and everything. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Alright guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye.